Welcome to Central News. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, as children have been heading back to school in the recent weeks, the police will be reinforcing the safer speed zones of 40 kilometres around some schools. The Ministry of Transport's 2012 speed survey shows that Bay of Plenty drivers are the fastest region in the country. The survey revealed that 15% of drivers surveyed were travelling at an average of 60.5 kilometres on urban roads, the highest in the country. Inspector Kevin Taylor, Bay of Plenty Road Policing Manager, says it is important to remember that children are unpredictable and police will be out there checking speeds over the back to school period.
Yes, that's the message we're giving motorists. The reality is, if you hit a child at 40 kilometres an hour, you are still going to do some serious damage, and chances are they could die. Now, I just don't get it why people need to go so fast around schools. It's just plain dumb. Don't care who they are, parents, passers-by, local residents. There is no excuse for speeding around schools where there are lots of vulnerable young people who are unpredictable, particularly big groups of kids. It's the responsibility of motorists to slow down and drive accordingly.
A new community living facility has opened up in Tauranga, one of the first of its kind in the country. Iris House is a purpose-built shared living facility for people with physical disabilities that allows an independent lifestyle. Mary Davis, the team leader of Iris House, says residents are loving the fact that Iris House is home rather than just a facility.
Watching the residents settle into this new environment in Iris has been really exciting. It's been exciting watching them develop their new independence, making personal decisions for themselves, and actually socialising in such a lot more appropriate environment. It's been really good.
Now for our region's weather for the weekend. Hamilton, your Saturday is looking partly cloudy with a southwesterly. Your expected high is 26 and an overnight low of 13. Saturday for you, Tauranga, is fine with a light southwesterly. Your expected high is 26 and an overnight low of 15. Looking at Sunday for you, Hamilton, is looking fine with light winds. Your expected high is 26 and an overnight low of 13. Sunday for you, Tauranga, is mainly fine with a chance of the odd morning shower. So do the washing on Saturday, eh? Your expected high is 26 and an overnight low of 16. Just ahead, an amazing project for a great cause. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. A new home is currently being built in Papamoa, but this home won't be sold for the profit of the builders Cambridge Homes. No, the profits will go to Canteen. I spoke with the generous man himself, Brian of Cambridge Homes.
Well, we're doing it as a dual purpose. First and foremost, to bring Cambridge Homes to the forefront of marketing in the building industry, and secondly, to benefit a charity. And we've chosen Canteen for this project. We feel that it's a worthwhile cause, and as a self-funding charity, they're struggling. So we thought we'd help them out.
And how big is the home and what is its exciting features?
The house is 180 square metres. The house has been designed for the site. It features a very large living area, including a lovely kitchen with granite tops, plenty of storage throughout the house, as well as a big oversized ensuite. All en-suites and bathrooms come with the bath, shower and quality fittings.
How much money are you hoping to get for the home?
Well, the house had a pre-construction valuation of $455,000. Since we've started, we've actually added a few more features, so we're hoping that when it goes to auction, it'll successfully go for somewhere around the $460,000, $465,000.
Why did you want to do this for Canteen?
Well, somebody has to support them. They're not self-funding. It's a very, very worthwhile organisation. I mean, if we all think about it, we all know someone who's got kids that have got this affliction. It's a terrible affliction. They're no further down the track with a cure than they were 50 years ago. Somebody's going to help them out. We think it's a worthwhile cause, and we're proud to be associated with them for the length of time that we've got a contract. And
how long until the completion date?
Completion date will be late April, at which time we're hoping to use the house as a bit of promotion for about 2 to 3 weeks, for personal reasons as well as reasons to give people an opportunity to come and view the house.
So will there be a bit of a celebration when the home is completed?
Yes, no, we're hoping to have a marketing strategy of 3 months. We're going to get all our sponsors and everybody that's been associated with helping us fund this project, because there have been a lot of big companies involved in this, and a lot of little companies like the plumber and the Sparky and the bricklayer and all those guys. Everyone's got a little bit of fat in this, and we want to show our appreciation. So yes, we're going to put a bit of a function on and invite everybody around, including a lot of the dignitaries from the local council and that, so everybody can have a piece of what we've done.
Well, after we were lucky enough to catch up with Brian and Tim, and they took us around the house, and I must say that has a huge walk-in wardrobe and a huge ensuite, which is a very special to women, I must say. So we actually caught up with the Canteen side of the story, which is the Strategic Projects Manager, Rebecca Scott of Canteen. So Rebecca, how was this idea initiated with Cambridge?
Cambridge Homes came up with the novel idea of building a home in the Bay of Plenty region, auctioning it and donating the proceeds to a charity. So Brian from Cambridge Homes approached Canteen towards the end of last year, and naturally we got on board. It's a fantastic concept, and it will help us to assist young New Zealanders living with cancer.
What will the money raised actually go towards?
It will go towards our support services of our members across the country that are living with cancer, be it patient, sibling or bereaved sibling. Our support services include national and local programs, camps and activities where our members have the opportunity to meet, talk and share their experiences, and to develop positive skills in dealing with their situation and have personal resilience.
So when the home is finished, will there be a bit of a celebration?
Absolutely. They've undertaken this wonderful project, so I'm sure there'll be a celebration at the auction.
And what will, how many youth are you actually currently looking after?
Approximately 180 to 200 young people are diagnosed with cancer each year. Canteen currently supports 1,500 people aged between 13 and 24 years, and that's growing rapidly.
How many people do you actually have in the Waikato on the Bay of Plenty?
We have just over 300.
It's a lot of people, isn't it? So what do you guys actually do to support them?
We have a variety of support services and resources. For those patients that are undergoing treatment, we have dedicated patient support workers that personally assist them in their journey by providing a distraction and alleviating the boredom within the hospitals by providing PSPs, laptops, magazines, arts and crafts, laptops, phone cards, phones to keep connected with their family and friends. Regionally, we have weekly and monthly activities where our young people engage with each other. Obviously, they're in an environment where others have been through similar experiences, which isn't necessarily the case in a school or a work environment. And nationally, we provide programs of development in a supportive and safe environment.
So how else do you guys raise funds?
Because we don't receive any direct government funding, we rely solely on our own fundraising efforts, our corporate partners and the generosity of the New Zealand public. Each year we hold our Bandana Challenge, which is a 2-week appeal, and during that time we sell bandanas in schools, malls, at street appeals, and we also sell our member-designed merchandise on our online shop on the Canteen website.
Head to Oak Lane and Papamoa to view the progress. Just ahead, our fire ban restrictions. Welcome back. There is currently fire bans all around the country due to the dry summer we have had. So I found out about our fire bans.
Yeah, thanks Hilary for the opportunity to be here this morning. Yeah, I represent the Thames Valley Rural Fire District, and that's the 3 councils of Thames Coromandel, Matamata Piaka and Hauraki. And those 3 councils have an arrangement to manage rural fire, and at the moment, because of the extremely lovely summer weather, we also get very dry conditions. So we have a combination of a total fire ban across 2 councils, so Thames Coromandel and Hauraki. They've chosen to have a total fire ban, and that means there's no permits issued, whereas Matamata Piako District Council, because of the change in the land there and the fire hazard risk that's presented by the farming environment, they can have a restricted or prohibitive fire season, so they will still issue permits, but you must get a permit to have an open fire.
Can someone get a permit for burning rubbish?
It depends how you're burning. You're not allowed to burn plastics in that. That's actually controlled by the Waikato Regional Council. So if you do burn, it's normally normal combustibles like wood and paper, but plastics, rubber tyres are certainly a no-no. In fact, you're breaching the Regional Council bylaws if you burn tyres. So no, generally open fires are really for land management. So the forestry owners and the farmers are generally the people that we see as having, when they have an open fire, it's for a purpose. We would certainly encourage people with just general rubbish, because it is a smoke nuisance for a lot of neighbours. You're better off to take your rubbish to a proper disposal centre.
And so what area does this fire ban actually cover?
It's as I said, it's across the 3 district council areas, but it varies slightly because of the fire risk presented by the different fuels that are available. So for Thames, Coromandel and Hauraki district councils, they have always traditionally had a total fire ban from Boxing Day through to February. Because of the conditions, it's been extended. And that's mainly because of the large population increase that we experience in the coastal areas. And it just stops people, one, letting off fireworks, because fireworks are classed as an open fire under the bylaws. And it also prevents people having beach fires, which is a nice idea, but there's always the potential for them to become out of control. So, and because of the weather this year, we've had to extend that fire ban. And normally Matamata Piako wouldn't have any restrictions in place, because it's mainly rural farming and dairy, but because of the extremely dry conditions, they've opted to have a restricted season. So for Matamata Piako people, you can go to their council and apply for a permit, and they'll set the conditions in which you have it. The other 2 councils, no permits have been issued at the moment.
I mean, the general public obviously is not going to apply for land control fires, are they?
No, but under the bylaws in Thames, Coromandel and Hauraki, because they have a restricted season in place all the time, you have to have a permit all year through to have a fire in the open.
So, I mean, does it actually affect the general public in the Matamata Piako area?
It does, because they're still required to have a permit if they want to burn, so they have to go to the council and get a permit. So that's the main effect on those people. But I think generally across the board, we like to see that it's actually safer for people at this moment, because it just prevents fires from getting out of control. And I think an important thing for your viewers to understand is, especially if you live in rural areas and you're found to be the cause of the fire, you can actually carry the full financial cost for that rural fire, which is different to a fire in an urban area. So, you know, because of our access and remoteness in some of our areas, we have to use helicopters to suppress those fires. So at a couple of $1,000s an hour for a helicopter with a monsoon bucket, people can quickly find that they've incurred quite a large bill. So we really encourage people that work or play or carry out activities that involve fire in rural areas to talk to their insurance companies and make sure they have good third-party protection, because they can actually incur the cost for a rural fire. And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
So if you caused a rural fire and it spread and burnt down other people's houses, you could theoretically be paying for other people's houses?
Yeah, and your insurance may not necessarily cover you. So people that live in rural areas, we really encourage them to have conversations with their insurance companies. And even if you think you can't afford insurance, it's still worth talking to an insurance company to have that cover in place if possible.
Because our area is fire region number 2. What challenges does that hold? I mean, you mentioned that it's slightly different landscape, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And that, interestingly enough, Fire Region 2 actually applies to the New Zealand Fire Service Urban Fire District. There's 3 fire authorities in the Thames Valley area. So you've got New Zealand Fire Service, they're responsible for what are known as the urban fire districts, and they're gazetted in New Zealand maps. And then the district councils are responsible for rural fire, so they're rural fire authorities. And then the Department of Conservation, they're the third party in the area, and they're responsible for all conservation lands. And they also have what they call a 1 kilometre safety margin. So they extend their area actually into our areas in lots of parts of the peninsula, and they take responsibility for managing fire. So you do need to check with your local council on that as to whose area you're lighting a fire in. And I don't think a lot of New Zealanders understand that we actually have quite a complex mix of fire authorities. And if we had defence interests in the area, the Defence Forces would also be a fire authority in their own right.
I mean, just quickly, cigarette butts.
Yes.
Are they a big cause of rural fires?
I don't think they're a large part. Majority of rural fires tend to start from people doing an activity, and there's always the odd fire. We had a couple last season where it was put down to cigarettes being discarded from motor vehicles, and I know personally driving around, I still see people that smoke dispose of cigarettes, and 99% of the time that cigarette's probably not a problem, but once you get extremely dry conditions, that's when those things can become a problem. But one of the interesting things for rural people is actually tractors and machinery, because a lot of that machinery gets used either for harvesting or planting, and in between times it sits in sheds, and that's when birds and vermin love to nest in it. And I worked at National Headquarters for the New Zealand Fire Service for a number of years, and we did a study on tractor fires, and I was amazed at how many tractor fires we actually have throughout New Zealand. And it's for that reason, that bird nesting in the engine compartments.
And of course, dial 111 if you see a fire. Coming up, we were lucky enough to see inside the Port of Tauranga. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. The new extension is well underway for the Port of Tauranga, and we were lucky enough to have a sneak peek and find out about the project.
Oh no, it's going really well, Hilary. The HEB, the contractors, have done a great job for us. They started in January last year, and 15 months later they expect to complete it on time in March. It's been amazing. It's 170 metres. Then 30 metres further than that, they've got a bollard, so it effectively gives us nearly 200 metres. They've moved something like 30,000 tonnes of sand and silt to reclaim the land behind it. They've put a rock wall in place. I think it might be 50,000 tonnes of sand and silt and 30,000 tonnes of rocks. There's 370 odd piles, and 270 of those are longer than 50 metres. I mean, it's a massive exercise. Engineering development, I should say. I don't think our engineers would like me calling it an exercise. It's an infrastructure build. There's 4,500 tonnes of concrete in the piles, and there's 4,500 tonnes of concrete on the deck, or there will be. It's a really big project for us, and we're very, very happy with the way it's gone.
So why did the Port of Tauranga require the extension?
When the container terminal was built or commissioned in 1999, we could fit about 3 ships alongside and work 3 ships at a time. With the increasing size of the ships, we now can't. So to maintain our productivity and the workload through the port and be efficient, we actually needed the extra length. So we've with the extra 170 metres and the average size of the ship increasing, we can now, or once it's complete, we'll be able to have 3 ships alongside again. Any delay to the ship, is a cost to our customers, so we're just really focused on the efficiency and productivity we can manage.
How much is the extension expected to cost, and what do you think is actually what's expected for it to make in return?
Well, I mean, it's an infrastructure project, so any return's going to be over a long term, and the project cost at the moment is around 30 million, and it'll mean we can handle much more volume and more ships, so over time there will definitely be a return on it. Yeah.
So will the extension and the project actually see bigger container ships in our harbour?
The extension itself won't. It will allow them to come in. We actually handle bigger ships now. So when the container terminal was built, we used to be able to fit, as I said, 3 alongside. They're about 200, 250 metres long each. Ships these days increasing in size to 300, early 300s, and it's expected they'll go up to about 350. So in length we can handle them, but also in crane capacity, and you saw the cranes. We've got 1 new crane being built at the moment, 1 new crane ordered to come in January next year, and they're what we call post-Panamax cranes. So they can handle ships that carry up to 18 containers wide, and with more and more of those coming, it's just the whole productivity equation, if you like. So at the moment, in 99, our average container ship size was about 1,400 containers per ship. At the moment, it's about 3,500. The biggest ship we've had calling is the OOCL New Zealand, and she's 4,500 container capacity, and we'll get up around the 5,500. So combined with the berth extension, we also need the dredging consent for the wider channel, the widening and deepening of the channel.
And bigger container ships has seen the need for dredging?
It's not the extension as such, it's the development plan for the port overall. As you saw when we were driving around, the new rail apron, the new refrigerated container points, the berth extension, the new cranes, the 6 new straddles, and the dredging all mean that as a port we can grow, we can increase the capacity of the container terminal several times over what we can handle at the moment. And we've had significant growth in the last year and planning it in the future. So the investment is going to allow that to happen and allow us to maintain the productivity levels our customers enjoy. We're lucky enough to be in the upper decile of productivity in the world in the port we have here, and we're really just investing for our future.
Was there any opposition to that dredging?
Yes, there has. we were granted consent by the Bay of Plenty Regional Council, and then it's been through 2 appeal processes, through the Environment Court and then through the High Court. And at both courts we were granted the consent. We are hopeful now the Minister of Conservation will be able to make a declaration and allow us to dredge. So we hope there'll be no more appeals.
Now, there is a new addition to the skyline in the port. It's very exciting. Tell us about the new crane.
Oh, the new crane? Yeah, well, it arrived, and we're very excited about anything big and moves in this place, by the way. The new crane and the new straddles. Liebherr have sent the crane. We've bought the crane from Liebherr and the second crane, and it's being constructed at the moment. It looks like a giant Meccano set out there, and the guys from Rich Rigging are doing a great job, and it'll be on the berth and working and targeted in March with the berth extension. So on the 4th of April, we're planning a opening function for both the berth and the crane. Be great.
Because the extension is actually part of that bigger project, isn't it?
Oh, it's all the things I mentioned previously, the berth extension, the new crane, the new straddle carriers, the rail exchange, the refrigerated container points. It's just all about increasing our capacity.
Visit port-tauranga.co.nz to find out about all things port. That is the news for today and this week. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back next week with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening and a fabulous weekend.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.